Hi everybody, it's Summer Searcher here, and today I am talking about the Lake George 12-Stir Hike, which is 12 mountains all situated around the Lake George area, Bolton Landing, and that surrounding area. So I'm going to go through my favorite ones that I did, all of the hikes individually, and the least favorite of the hikes. So to start off, number one was Sleeping Beauty, which was the first one I did personally. I've done the hike before in the past and I've always really enjoyed it. It's gorgeous views. It's 7 miles and about 1,300 feet of elevation, and you can actually loop in on the way down. You can go around Bumps Pond, which is an alternative route on your way down, which is gorgeous if you want to stop there. Really classic Lake George hike. A lot of people do this one. It's a lot of switchbacks all the way up to the top, so it's family friendly, dog friendly, and it's a fun one. The second and third hike I did was Cat and Tom. I did it as a joint hike for the two peaks. You can do each of them individually. I've done both of them individually and they're still just as fun. But it was really nice. We went up to Cat first and then we cut over to Tom. On your way over to Tom, it's a lot of up and down action that you do, so you got to be prepared for that. And also when you get over to Tom, the trail gets kind of confusing. You switch trail markers, there's a campground, so it can be kind of hard to find the trail, so make sure to keep your eye out for that. Doing the loop of the two was 7.3 miles and 1,600 feet of elevation, and both offered really gorgeous views of the lake. For my fourth hike out of the 12-Stir, I did Black Mountain. Black Mountain's a lot of fun. It's a gorgeous hike as well. It has some nice switchbacks all the way up to the top and then offers like a nice rock scramble up towards the top. There's a windmill at the top, which you'll see, so some people complain about the noise, but it didn't really bother me. The views were gorgeous. The hike in total was 7.7 miles, so it's a little bit longer of a hike out of the 12-Stirs that we had done at that point. You can do it as an up and back, or you can actually there's an alternative route on the back side when you get up to the top, which is the way we took on the way down. You can tell it's the path less traveled. So it was a nice route on the way down to check that out if you're interested as well. After Black, we did Buck Mountain. Buck Mountain's a little bit harder. I've heard a lot of people before we had done it had said, wow, this is a little challenging of a hike. I know there's two alternative routes. We took it from the Shelving Rock Road route. It's a lot of uphill. You gain a lot of vertical over a short amount of time, a lot of rock scrambles, and then there's actually a slab climb right before you get to the top. The views of Buck are gorgeous because before you get to the summit, you get this awesome wide open slab that people just sat and had lunch on, or while you're climbing it, you just get some really gorgeous views. So that was a fun one as well. Buck Mountain was 7 miles and 1,900 feet of elevation. So again, a little bit steeper than the other ones. For number 6, 7, and 8, I did the Tongue Range. The Tongue Range is 6 mountains over a peninsula into Lake George, so it looks like a tongue. That's where it's got its name. You can do all 6 mountains as a traverse hike, which is all 6 mountains in one shot. That is 16.4 miles and 3,300 feet of elevation. So we opted to split it into 2 different hikes. So the first 3 hikes that we did were Brown, Huckleberry, and 5 Mile. So that was the northern side of the traverse. We did that one first. And those ones don't offer a ton of views, so don't expect to get these wide open summits like the other ones on the Lake George 12-Stir hike. 5 Mile, you get a view, but the other 2 are actually wooded summits, so you're not going to get much views out of that. We had a great time. The views were really not that great, but we still had a really fun time trekking through the woods and going up and down in the elevation. For the second half of the Tongue Traverse, we did 5th Peak, French Point, and First Peak. That's the southern range, which brings you right out by the lake, and that was gorgeous. Each peak got more prettier than the next, wide open summits. 5th Peak, I believe, is the last one you hit, and it's just gorgeous. So it's really fun being able to walk right down by the lake. On the way back to the car, you actually walk all the way down, right around the peninsula where it juts out into the water, and all the way back to your car. So that's a lot of fun. For our 12th and final peak, we did Erebus. Erebus Mountain is an 8.6 mile hike and 1,800 feet of elevation. You can also loop it in with the pond, which is what we did for a loop hike, because you will not get a view at Erebus. There's no true summit other than just a wooded summit at the top. So when you get to Erebus, it's actually, you'll see the sign, and it's a bushwhack up to the summit. So you don't have to actually do the bushwhack to do this challenge, but if you want a little bit of a challenge for yourself, you can actually follow your way up to the top of the summit, which is marked by a canteen that says Erebus Mountain at the top of it. Luckily, somebody had gone before us and actually marked the way with these little pink tapes that were tied on trees. So it was super easy for us to find the summit. So if you want a little bit of a challenge, definitely would consider adding on the bushwhack for your hike as well. So those are the 12 of the Lake George 12-ster. For my favorite, personally, I really enjoy Cat and Tom. I think doing that as a loop hike is just gorgeous. It's really fun. We had a great time when we did it, so I highly recommend making sure you get that one. And like I said, that was my favorite of the 12. My least favorite, I would have to say, just based on the trail itself and the lack of views, would probably be Erebus. Like I said, I really enjoyed the bushwhack itself, but you're not getting much out of that hike other than the adventure and excitement of doing it. And of course, we finished on it, so that was exciting for us as well. You can also do the 12-ster as a winter 12-ster if you're interested within the weeks that is actually marked for winter. And you can also do it as a 12-ster ultra challenge, which means you have to do all 12 within, I think it's 24 or 48 hours. So you have to do it all at the same shot. My tips for doing the Lake George 12-ster is spread them out, obviously, so that you can manage them and do them at your capacity level. So don't try and bite off more than you can chew. You don't have to do all 12 of the tongue range at the same time if you can't handle something like that. I'd also recommend definitely doing the challenge, because I think that when you go in the Adirondacks, there's a lot of places where you get mountain views, but we're fortunate enough to have an area where you can see a lot of lake view. So I definitely recommend checking out the challenge, and I hope you guys have a great time doing it just like I did.